Well, hello guys, this is the Betamax Man. What we have is a Sony Super VHS SLV R5UC. This remote is my remote that I've had for a few years. But what you're seeing is just a machine that I got. Just got this in the mail today. But this one more than likely is going to have two problems. One being the broken blue gear, the other one being the power supply. So if we plug this thing in, you'll notice that it does not power on. As you can see, it's plugged in. No life at all. Completely dead. No clock display. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So let's take it apart. The first thing I'm going to do is take the cover off. I'm pretty sure that this is going to have a broken blue gear. So let's get the top off. Does it have a broken blue gear? Yes, it does. Yeah, there's a broken blue gear. As you can see, the gear is... somebody's messed with it because the wrong screws were in it. But here's broken blue gear. I hope that nobody has messed with the timing on this machine. But it is completely dead, and I'll need to pull the bottom piece off to do some further investigations. Then we gotta take after we take the bottom plate off, and then we gotta take the circuit board off so that we can expose the workings of the mechanism. And this is a 4-head hi-fi stereo Super VHS, but you'll notice it's got a flying erase head. So this is the flying erase head right here. It's only got one flying erase head. Why didn't they use two of them? I don't know. Because I know some Super VHS, high-end Super VHS decks actually had two flying erase heads, but this one just appears to have one. But at least it has a flying erase head, because that's good. So let's see what this guide is like. Yeah, this is kind of froze up. This guide's frozen. I'm gonna have to do some lubrication on that in order to, yeah, it's gonna be, it's all gummed up. It shouldn't be like that. I mean, that should spring back, and it's not, so that's okay. I figured that was gonna happen. Every time you buy one of these machines off eBay, if it's for parts or repair on eBay, always know this: power supply is going to be broken, you're going to have a broken blue gear, and you're going to have, what is this, the P5 or the P, it's either the P5 or the P6 guide is going to be froze on this one. So okay guys, well, I was able to free up the guide. As you can see now, it doesn't stay when before it was just staying in position. Well, now it flings back like it's supposed to. So now that that is fixed, we can get to the blue gear, and then once we do the blue gear, and we'll take a look at the power supply. I'm sure that the power supply is going to need capacitors, so we'll take a look at that. But let's get to the bottom side. I've got to remove the bottom panel here. Remove the bottom panel. nice thing about these particular models is that they do have arrows. Sony usually will always put arrows where the screws need to be removed. And actually with these two front ones, these two black ones, they just need to be loosened. The rest of them will have to come out. The gold ones will have to come out, but with the black ones, they can just stay in place here. We'll just loosen them up, and then we'll take the gold colored screws out, and I'll do that, and we'll get the circuit board off and get this thing into the bottom. So now I got the screws out, we can lift this up, but first I've got to take this zip tie off. The looks like this may not have been into, because usually when somebody's been into the bottom of the mechanism here, that zip tie is usually always missing. But maybe nobody has been into this unit, I don't know. Or at least not the bottom part. Or maybe they have been, I don't know. It's just kind of a guess as to what I'm thinking. But, hey. Alright. Yeah, the zip tie is kind of hard to get off somehow. No, it looks like it didn't. Get that. Ooh. Got that all, so now we can pull straight up. And of course, oh, interesting, this has got two connecting areas. Never seen that before. Usually they only have one connector here. For the cassette housing, which is it goes into that yellow one. Not sure why they've got a white one there. Maybe for another model or something. I don't know. But as you can see, we can now see the broken blue gear. Well, there it is. Look at that. It's split right in half. So next thing we need to do is get that blue gear replaced. So what I am going to do is, because I'm not very familiar with VHS machines, the Sony VHS machines, I've been into a few of them, but I don't always remember the alignment on them. So what I will like to do, there is an arrow on the white gear and an arrow, a little dot on the blue one for the alignment for that. But I'm going to make a little bit of an alignment mark here with a Sharpie, just to make sure that I get everything back into the right spot. And like I said, I'm not very familiar with the VHS systems, and so kind of just doing some extra things to make sure that I don't get things out of alignment here. I want to make sure I line everything up. Make sure that I get it back into the right position. Now, if I was somebody like 12 volt vids, I wouldn't have to do that, but I'm not a VHS person, so I don't work on VHS much. I'll work on VHS machines every once in a while, but not so much. I mean, I have opened up a few Sony VHS machines, and yes, I've worked on them. But usually it's something simple, like cleaning a mode switch or replacing a blue gear, or maybe replacing capstan motor or something like that. So something like that, you know. But now we can go ahead and take off the cut washers. Now, I've actually got a blue gear in stock, so we'll put one in. And get these cut washers. Make sure you don't lose the cut washers, because if you lose the cut washers, you're screwed, because then you'll have no way to hold the pieces together. And of course we've got the metal plate that just goes on, so we can actually lift up the cam gear. This is the cam gear. So we'll lift that up, and now we'll be able to get to the blue gear. And we'll just lift them up, but let's get the cut washer off of that. Yeah, there's 4 cut washers here. Another thing keep in mind is that we're probably going to have to remove the guide just to make it a little bit easier to work on, but I'm going to see if I can do it without. I think if I lift this up enough, I can actually see, I can, oh wait, I have to take it off on this one. Now I'm going to have to use a screwdriver, I think, to get that off. I'm going to take this off. We'll be able to remove this, and then we'll replace the blue gear. And this is one of the original gears, because this is a dark blue. The darker color was the factory, and the lighter blue ones were usually always the replacements. They did actually, some of them had white gear instead of a blue. It was white on some of them, but this one definitely is blue. So, but this one will actually just, the gear itself, because the gear is broken and the spring's not holding anything. So, but I'm gonna see if we can get that off of there, because yeah, and that guide will probably fall through. Okay, so now I'll get the new gear and put in place, and then we'll go ahead and put that together. Now when the blue gear gets replaced, we'll be ready to see if we can get this thing fired up. I actually had a power supply, so I had a good power supply out of a parts deck, so I'm gonna swap the power supply and this thing will power up. I will be repairing the original power supply that's in it. We will do a repair video on that, but that one sometimes can be quite involved, because they're pretty much all the caps on the power supply is going to need to be changed, because that's why they don't power up. Now, sometimes they just don't power up because of other issues, but the main reasons why these R5UCs don't power up is because all those capacitors, they pee all over the board. Okay, I got the new blue gear in, got the cam gear on, got the plate on, got all the cut washers back on. Next thing to do is plug in the cassette housing, put this back in, and we should be ready for testing. And oh yeah, we gotta change the power supply with a good one, and then we'll see what this thing does, and I sure hope that this thing will work. Well, let's see if we got life. We now have a clock display. We got a power light. The drum is kicked on. Let's go ahead and insert a cassette. Okay. This tape's in very bad shape. This tape has been chewed multiple times. It does seem to be working, so let's put in a... However, okay. Well, let's put a tape in, and let's hook it up to the TV, and seems to be working. So let's hook it up to the monitor, and we'll change channels here, and we'll hook it up, and let's get this thing, see if we can see a picture. Yeah, it's playing, but it does look like it has a alignment issue. So I think the tape guides have loosened, or maybe the tape's not. But I hear like I just wonder if it's crinkling the tape a little. And I don't think we got hi-fi either. This has hi-fi, so it should have hi-fi sound. Okay. Well, it seems to be working somewhat. We've got some problems, and it could just be the tape that's malfunctioning. But this guide, basically what I did to get it freed up was I put a little bit of alcohol down through I just sprayed some alcohol on the top, and I let the alcohol go down into the guide and loosened it up. Now we will take that guide off and lube it, clean it. We'll clean it and then lube it, but for right now I'm just going to leave it as is, because right now as is the guide's not sticking. So, and I don't want to take a chance of getting it out of alignment just yet until I just want to make sure we get other things going first. But let's just see. Yeah, hi-fi is not working. Hi-fi audio is having some trouble. Now, what I'm thinking is that we're going to have to work on the audio board. Because I see some bad element capacitors. But let's try the tracking before we do anything else. So, let's see, manual tracking, there's auto tracking, or manual tracking. If we put it on auto, we'll see if we can get it to, yeah, it's locking up, but not, let's turn the auto off. We get linear audio, but no hi-fi. We can get the linear. Here's our, we can track it. The picture's not that great. But we got linear audio, but we have no hi-fi. This is our hi-fi light is not lighting up, and this one is recorded in hi-fi. So we should have a hi-fi. I think this has a hi-fi light that light up, but probably gonna have to do some cleaning and adjustment. This tape's also been messed up pretty good, so. I put this on because I know I'm not gonna get hit with a copyright. Let's hit auto tracking. So we do auto tracking and we get linear. I thought our alignment was incorrect at first, but it's not. I'm just gonna let it play for a while because everything is more than likely gummed up. So all the lubricant is more than likely is all dried out. It's probably a good idea for me to do a cleaning on the mode switch as well, but right now I'm just happy with the fact that it is actually playing a tape. Yeah, we got a little work to do. We got rewind. That's good. Not bad. Uh-oh. Yeah, we got a mechanical problem. Oh, boy. So, taking a look at the mechanism, pulled the cam gear off. And I put everything back in the home position. and put the guides back in. But look what happened. Notice anything? This gear is broken. So that's what's happened. So because everything is gummed up, and I'm gonna go ahead and take this gear off. But we'll replace this gear here, and hopefully that won't happen anymore. But that plastic gear has been known to break. I've known these to break. I've had them break before, and when they do break, it's usually caused by lubrication that is dried up maybe, and that might have been why it broke. I don't know, but hey, we're gonna replace it, put it back together, and try it again. You remember that Sony VHS machine I got at the Goodwill? Well, this is gonna become a sacrificial parts deck because this actually has a bad capstan, which is causing it to eat tapes. So, and it just recently developed a power supply fault, so this is going to be a parts deck. I've took the piece that I need. This is the piece that broke. That's what I'm going to put in. Now, if this breaks too, then I'm screwed. So, this is the only gear I have left. So, hopefully, this gear won't break, but it's always a possibility. So, I got the new gear in. Let's see what happens. Something's going on with the mechanism, so let me take it back apart. I think I might have solved the problem. There was a gear that was out of alignment. There was the smaller cam gear. So let's just see if I got anywhere or did I fail. Still doing the same thing, so something is still wrong. I'm just kind of loading this thing manually, and I've manually threaded the machine. It's in its fully loaded position when it's in play. So now I'm going to unload it by hand. What I did sounds kind of nuts, crazy, but I left the center cut washer off. And once I done that, for some reason it started to load. So I'm going to unload this thing. As you can see, the pinch roller is down, tape guides are fully engaged, and this is what it would look like if it was in play with a tape inside of it. And of course you have your little capstan motor, which will drive your take up and supply reels, and then go to the other side for the take up reel there. But anyway, so I'm hoping that this will I'm gonna unthread it by hand now, and I'm gonna power it up and we'll see if it threads. Because I'm just wondering, why is this thing not completing the loading cycle? But maybe with me doing it by hand has somehow freed up something. But I have left that center cut washer off, and I think that cut washer, for some reason, maybe the pressure, maybe the plate is tweaked a little bit, and the plate is a little bit indented, keeping it from completing its cycle. The cam gear here. Plate, and it does look like it's a little tweaked, so it could be that the plate got bent a little bit and it's applying too much pressure, and binding the cam gear, not allowing it to load and unload. So what I'm going to do is now just simply unload it. By hand. So going the other way will now let this thing unload. Maybe try cleaning the mode switch. That could be the reasoning, because I know that sometimes when things don't complete their loading cycle with VHS machines, it can be caused simply by the mode switch that's dirty and it can't make contact with the microprocessor, and it won't complete its cycle. So I'm going to go ahead and unthread this and then plug it back in, and we'll see if it'll start to thread. But as you can see, it's slowly coming back. Moving this gear by hand is, of course, a really slow process, but it's something I wanted to do because I wanted to see if my timing was correct. And according to all the alignment holes, my timing is perfect. So why is it not loading? And that's why I loaded it by hand. But like I said, if there's a bend in that plate, and that plate is applying too much pressure in the middle, that could bind up the cam gear. There you go. Now it's starting to go back into its little home position here. As soon as you can see, the cam gear is moving. Just gonna keep unloading it until, and it should start to have its guide, should start moving the that guide should start coming down pretty soon. Here we go. Now it's going to start unloading. As you can see. So doing this is definitely gonna see, as you can see, they're now moving down into place. It's gonna go back into its home position. Once my line marks back up with the original. See, I made that line on purpose so that I wouldn't get it at a time. But when it got half loaded, half unloaded, and then the gear broke, it couldn't finish its unloading cycle, so I had to move the gear myself. But I think one of the gears was at a time, and I retimed it, and then the stupid thing was doing the same stupid thing. But, hey, you know. Oops, don't want to go past its home position. There we go. So we'll power it on and see what happens and see why. I took this piece off here so that I can do the loading and unloading without hurting my finger. but it's not completing the loading cycle. Yeah, I think I did get it out of time somewhere. It's got to be out of time, because that one gear I thought maybe was out of time that I was moving. Well, that could definitely be the problem, because maybe I put it out of alignment. So I'm gonna work on this a little later, I think, and try and get this thing to load, because I'm not quite sure why. Okay, it must be the mode switch. It's got to be the mode switch, guys. I think that mode switch is causing the whole issue. Will it unload without breaking the gear? Dun dun dun. Well, we do got it playing. And this time it's actually rewinding without chewing the tape. Might have been that mode switch was dirty. So we're gonna clean that mode switch, and that should solve its problem. Yeah, it does seem to eject. Oh, I think the mode switch. Yeah, it seems to work, but every once in a while it does not complete its loading cycles. So I'm thinking that, yeah, just that mode switch that's gonna need to be cleaned. So anyway, but I'm gonna take a little break from this, and I will clean the mode switch and do some other things to it. Lubricate everything. I need to get, you know, some lubrication done and things like that. But just a few odds and ends, but this is starting to work. We're starting to get a machine that works, and which is what my goal is to have this thing working 100%, so that I could use it every once in a while. It's not going to be something I use constantly, but it is something that's going to be used. I've got a Magnavox VHS machine coming in. That's a 4-head linear stereo, so that's going to be cool to have that. I do have 2 more beta machines coming in the mail. So I'm working on the SLO 420 over there, and we're getting pretty good. That one, I just about got that one, so it's 100% usable. And I still got to do another video on that. There's quite a few videos that are going to be coming up. Picture's not as good as beta. The color processing on VHS was just not as good. The chroma and the luminance signals are not as good. Just beta was superior. Well, guys, several hours of restoring this thing. Spent about 5 hours on it last night, getting it going. It's all put back together as it works. So, put it in. And it plays automatically. And these are the previews. I can get away with showing this because it's previews, right? But plug this camera in. Anyway, but it works. And the audio sounds fine. And I'll probably go into the audio board and recap it because I've seen a lot of those really shitty purple capacitors that are on the soundboard, which happens quite a bit. I guess I can make a Super VHS recording pretty soon. But this thing had to have a gear replaced in it. After I replaced the blue gear, then I replaced the power supply with a good one. Replaced another gear that broke. There was another white plastic gear that broke. And, well, as you guys seen in the video, you've seen where it unthreaded about halfway and then it got stuck. And that was because that was the gear that broke. That white gear that broke rides inside of the cam gear. And so when it broke, the cam gear wouldn't move any farther because the broken piece was keeping it from doing anything. And then it got stuck. So, but what we will do is, let's see, I got a Super VHS tape here. This is recorded off of my JVC. And to be honest, I don't know how good it's going to be. One of those shorter tapes, but and there's a black screen. Oh, that's old recording. Ah, here's some distortion. Oh, that crackling was from the JVC recording. Because the audio board on the JVC needs to be repaired too. But the Super VHS playback is playing back, and of course the Super VHS light is on. And it is playing back Super VHS. And it's actually tracking it now so that it doesn't have that crackling sound, but I'm still going to recap the audio board on this machine. Plus I got to recap the audio board on the JVC too, so this is going to be a VHS week for me, I think. Now, of course, I got a few betas. I got my SLV 420 on progress, making progress on that and getting that thing up and going. Pretty good though. So for right now, this is performing well, and at least it's playing back the Super VHS recording, which is good. And I'm gonna make a Super VHS recording on this, but before I make a Super VHS recording on this, I'm gonna go in and recap the audio board, and that'll be pretty much it. And then this thing will be fully working. So I gotta go back inside and get the audio board fixed. I have to have that audio board recapped, because every now and then, especially when I first plug this thing in, when it's cold, you get distortion in the audio. I get this little buzzing sound in the audio. And I think that's in the hi-fi audio circuitry is what the buzzing is. And it could be one of the caps is bad in the power supply too. I mean, it could be, this is a good power supply, but it could have one or two caps that have went bad on it, causing the audio problem. But I think it's because of the audio board. The hi-fi audio board needs to be completely recapped. But hey, at least I've got a working Super Sony SLV or SLV R5UC. So I've got a working Sony high-end Super VHS machine. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.